Life lessons can be learned with just about anything you do in your life. What have you done lately that you've learned something from? Today, I'm going to talk about the life lessons I've learned from an almost full year of podcasting. And one, I can't believe I'm almost there. But two, I have learned so many life lessons, and I want to share them with you because I think they have been impactful for me, and hopefully they're impactful for you. Welcome to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I'm on a quest to help you find the most confident version of you. I help women become the most authentic version of themselves by helping them find clarity around who they are and who they want to be. My goal is to help women sift through all that noise that they have in their head about who they should be or who they shouldn't be, and create a plan to be exactly who they want to be. You don't have to continue to live with anxiety, high stress, and overwhelm. You can, little by little, get back to a place of peace and live with more contentment than you ever thought possible. You don't have to merely survive day to day. There is a life waiting for you, thriving. Grab your coffee, your favorite colored pen, and a pad of paper because we're headed out to find your confidence today. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about the life lessons I've learned from this full year of podcasting. I can't believe it's almost been a year. Number one, life is hard sometimes, even when you're doing something you want to do. I actually wanted to start the podcast. It wasn't something that was like this burning desire, and it wasn't something that had been a lifelong dream, but it was something that, if you've heard in past podcasts, I had been invited to be on a podcast, and I thought, oh, this isn't so bad. After we recorded and it was posted, I didn't die, nobody made fun of me, and it went just fine. So I thought, well, maybe I could do a podcast. So something deep inside me just decided to try it. And I love chatting with people. And honestly, I've spent most of my life getting into trouble for talking too much. So why not do it as part of my business? And that's what I did. Life can be, even when it's something you want to be doing, it can be really hard and it can be difficult. Starting a podcast was not easy for me. There were so many ups and downs. There were so many things I had to learn. There was an investment up front with me hiring a coach to help me get there, to actually having an active podcast. It just wasn't simple. And the tech honestly still throws me for a loop every now and then. So number one is life is hard sometimes, even when it's something you want to do. Number two, you can simultaneously love something and hate it at the same time. So this was really evident in the beginning, and it's still sometimes I get frustrated because there are parts of being a podcaster that I'm just not that great at. Who loves being mediocre, not great at something? Not me. Yet here I am, committed, learning, and hopefully touching a life here and there, and that was my goal. Also, even though I haven't done a podcast on it yet, I love the idea of teaching 50-50. And what that means is life is just 50-50. 50% of the time it's great and 50% of the time it's not great. And those things can exist simultaneously. And that's something that kind of blew my mind when I learned it, because we've been fed this lie that life can be perfect and happy. And if we just do what makes us happy or work harder or fill in the blank, then we'll have it all figured out. But the truth is, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much happiness you have, you will always experience life circumstances out of your control that aren't perfect. They don't make you happy and honestly can be downright downers. For instance, you could have a wonderful thing happen in your life and a not so wonderful thing happen at the exact same time. It's your choice what you let lead you, and it's your choice what you focus on. So think about this. You could find out that you landed your dream job the same day you lose a family pet. That's a 50-50 situation. On the same day that you have something extremely joyful happening, you have something that's like sorrowful and horrible happening. But those two things can exist at the same time, so you can actually be having happiness and sadness at the same time. It's mind-boggling, but it's true. It's okay, and it's just how life happens. But once you learn this idea of 50-50, you'll be aware of it more, and you won't let those downers take over things that are happening that are happy for you. This also doesn't mean you have to completely disregard something when it isn't happy. Take time for both. Number 3, all you have to do is decide you want to do something and go for it. It's truly that simple. We make it difficult, but making a decision to do something is the single most important part of your plan. When you think about it or you say that you're going to quote unquote try it, you kind of leave yourself open to other circumstances. Or if you decide you don't want to do it, you're not really doing it. So you're allowing yourself to be off the hook if it doesn't work out. If you really want something, you have to decide you're going to do it or have it. And that is the only way, because if you don't do it like that, then you're just going to seek out the excuses. So if you really want something to happen, decide you want it to happen, decide you want it, and then you will not seek out those excuses, but you will seek out the answers for how to achieve it. What do you need to make a decision about? Don't dawdle, just make a decision, decide you can or you can't, or you want or you don't want. You can decide you don't want to work on something, and that is okay, not a big deal, but you can also decide you do want to work on something and make it happen. When I decided to create a podcast in that initial exploration, I really didn't consider all the technology it would require me to learn. I didn't consider the depths of being uncomfortable I would feel or the challenge it would be to write, edit, and publish each week. But what I did decide is that I would do this for a full year, no matter what, to see what I learned and how I could impact the world. Honestly, I probably would have not completed that full year had I not decided and made that commitment. Decision is a big part of success or failure, or just your ability to see something through. Make a decision and stick to it. Number 4, nothing has to be perfect. This is from a recovering perfectionist that became a procrastinator due to the required perfection that I insisted I needed for all the things in my life. I have learned to be perfect less, enjoy the ride more, and I have learned that things haven't been perfect or better than the things that are perfect. My trailer and my original episode took me 8 or 9 hours because I completely over-edited all of it. I made so many of it edits and recuts that honestly, it just felt choppy. And when you listen to that and you listen to how I talk now, even though I leave my mistakes in oftentimes, it just feels completely different. So I've learned to go with it. I have learned to like my rough edges and my raw honesty and who I am at my core. I'm comfortable being me, the version that definitely isn't perfect regardless of what others might believe or think. It's simply none of my business what others think of me anyway. Number 5, even when you think you have it all figured out, there is more to learn. There have been several times, y'all, that I thought I had this all figured out. I thought I had SEO figured out. I thought I knew what I was doing. I'm getting there. And those thoughts are always short-lived because just about the time I think I have it figured out, I realize how off I am on SEO or how I set up links correctly or how I should have been doing something to build my business, like collecting emails. Instead, I was focused on the podcast part. Whatever it is, I've learned and I will continue to learn that I don't have it all figured out. The great news for me is I love learning. So my question to you is, do you love learning? Because that's what it requires. My greatest concern is this point in my life is that I won't be able to learn everything and experience everything I want to learn before my time is over on this earth. I trust that God's got my back, so I don't fret that much. But I also have this very long list of things that I want to learn and really want to learn more about and understand. Hopefully I'll get to most of them. Number 6, we are so much more than what we do. When I started considering podcasting, I couldn't see myself as a podcaster. So think about when you define yourself, when you say what you do, how do you communicate that to people when you speak about yourself? If you reach this place in your life when you are comfortable with who you are, it's a gift. Try your best not to hyper focus on what you do for a living. Get to know who you are as a person. What do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as in the world? And how do you want to show up in the world? This is single-handedly my favorite part of my job, is helping people figure that part out. When I work with women or even a man here and there about what are they doing and what are they wanting to do and how do they peel the onion back to figure out what part of them they have put up on the shelf and just decided that they weren't going to do that anymore, but they really miss parts of themselves or they're not expressing a part of themselves. It's really difficult to get to that place sometimes because our lives are just moving on with life. But when you're able to take that time and really get to the core of who you are and make sure that you are aligned with that, it makes all the difference. Sometimes it's tough because it can impact your life really big at first, and sometimes that can be difficult. But sometimes the shifts are small and they just help you live life more peacefully. And really and truly, who doesn't want to live life more peacefully? Number 7, when you step out of your comfort zone, you expand everything about yourself. This journey of podcasting has made me a better person. I make better decisions. I know my capabilities better. I have less anxiety. My ability to adapt is much greater because I've had to learn things on the fly. My ability to commit has improved. So much growth has emerged from me deciding to do this one thing. I could have stopped at any time. I wanted to stop so many times, and my comfort zone was much smaller than the girl who decided to step up and create this podcast. I wanted to help women become the most confident version of themselves, and I didn't know how to do that. That girl who decided to step up and create a podcast was small, scared, sweet, just had a big heart, but was easily hurt and afraid of what people said about her. And when I reflect on that now and who I am today, I feel brighter, taller, and more me. I have learned so much about myself because of podcasting. Even better, along the way, I've helped people step into being better versions of themselves. And I love that I can say that. I love that I can say I'm watching clients blossom into their greatest potential. It's the best feeling in the world. Not to say people need to be better, but sometimes people know something is missing in their life or they aren't aligned with work or relationships that aren't going well. I get to help people find more alignment with their lives, and it gives me so much joy. If you or someone you know is a person that is in that position, just sign up for a discovery call and let's see if I can help you. It's free and it's a step in the right direction for you if you feel lost. Life doesn't have to feel lost or out of balance. All right, so then number 8, you have the ability to reimagine your life and create a life that you want. It just requires action. When I started my coaching business, I wanted to make a difference. I remember being at my HR job and thinking I wanted to make a difference, and I didn't really feel like I was. And I honestly didn't feel like I was impacting lives in the way that I knew I could. It kind of left me feeling disconnected and not feeling valued. So it came down to me being the person to reimagine how I could create a life where I felt valued and I felt like I could do something that was aligned with who I wanted to be. I'm always working to improve myself, to add value, and to support others in some way. So when I thought about coaching, it just really worked out because I was getting coaching for myself, and it kind of just happened because I was able to reimagine being a different person and showing up in the world differently. Here's the thing. It took me to realize I wasn't serving my greatest purpose in life by staying where I was. It's not easy reimagining who you want to be, but stepping out and doing something different and rolling with the punches when they come, because let me tell you, they still come. I can tell you from experiences, it's no less difficult than being someone you aren't proud of or someone that you feel like you're less than you could potentially be if you stepped out of your comfort zone. Number 9, the grass is not greener, it's just different. So what I mean by that is sometimes different is better and sometimes different is worse. There have been so many things I've tried with my podcast specifically. Each week I did something a little different to test out something new. Some things were obvious, some were back end and SEO where nobody would notice, and sometimes those things helped, and sometimes they didn't move the needle or they moved it backward. This is so in line with life and business. So when we make a move, we try something different, we often dream about doing it differently next time. You become highly educated really quick. Doing equals learning, even when it fails. So fail fast and choose to fail forward. And all that means is learning from it and move on. Don't stay in your failure and let it hold you back. Let it propel you forward. Fail fast, fail forward. Number 10, being you will always be better than trying to be someone else. This is a big one for me. Oh my goodness. When I started my podcast, I was obsessing over my favorite podcast hostesses, and I thought I wanted to grow up to be just like them. That would be great, but not really, because they can only be them. I will excel better than anyone else at being me, meaning there will be nobody who can be me better than me, and vice versa. Just be you. Be you unapologetically. Be bold, be different, be interesting. Just be you. No one is interested in carbon copies anymore. If you're like me and you remember using carbon copy paper to make copies of anything that you traced over, you'll understand this even better. Go out there in the world and be the best version of you because God made you and there's only one of you out there. Look, if you're struggling with this, I can help you. If you find yourself spinning in envy or watching other people too much and not focusing on who you are and who you want to be, I can help you refocus and reimagine your life. It's not hard, and I promise you, being you, the best version of you, is the easiest and quickest way to find your happy place in the world. It's the best way to find less chaos, less anxiety, and more of what your dreams are made of. It will never be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. I hope you were able to gain a little bit of fun insight from the lessons I've learned from the last year of podcasting. I have learned so much and I love sharing everything that I learned with you. Go sign up for our discovery call. Let's put a plan together for you to reimagine who you want to be and become the best version you can dream up. Hey, I want to thank you for listening in to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I really hope you learned something valuable today. Can you do me the biggest favor? Right now, could you share the show with 3 people you know that might enjoy listening in? If you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it if you took the time to leave a rating or review. This helps people just like you find the podcast so they can also get great fun tips about confidence. Then don't forget, come back each week and we will keep giving out little tips for how to increase your confidence, how to ditch that self-doubt and stop your negative thought patterns so you can get back to your crazy confident self and pursue your biggest dreams fearlessly. See you next week. Love you big.